Hello everyone. So Antifa and BLM have been rioting for 8 months or 9 months now, and during the entire time the media has really been appeasing them by downplaying the severity of the riots, calling them mostly peaceful, some cases outright excusing this, with such classics as "it's okay, they have insurance," or "you value your property more than their lives." But once angry Trump supporters rioted in D.C., political violence quite literally overnight became the top concern of our good pals. According to them, not only were the rioters responsible, as they indeed are, but Trump himself, his supporters, or anyone else who dares question the most fraudulent election since 1876 is automatically responsible for inciting violence and sedition, even though the Democrats claim that Trump won in 2016 because Russian hackers and tried to decertify the 2004 and 2016 election results, the same way some Trump supporters were trying to. Instead of holding those directly responsible for violence, regardless of their motives or political persuasion, by, enforcing the law and obeying the Constitution, we're in clown world where terrorism's okay as long as the people doing it are sufficiently woke. Social media companies are currently purging people for this incitement, quote-unquote, with Trump, whom it has at least 8 more days as of the posting of this video, barring circumstances I'll get into in a minute, of being president, essentially being banned off most social media platforms, Google and Apple both announcing the pulling of Twitter, which alternative Parler, from their app stores, and Parler's web host Amazon announcing removal of service from Parler, which means that until Parler finds an alternative host or gets its own servers like Gab, then they will be offline. But those people are a bunch of alt-right hate mongers engaging in hate speech and incitement, right? Kind of like how all those liberals in the 1950s were blacklisted for being communists, right? Oh, but wait a minute, that's different, you say. Tell me more about how the people you agree with deserve the First Amendment, and those you don't should be canceled for wrongthink, and how those Orwellian tactics can't possibly be used against you in the near future should your political fortunes be reversed. Tell me more about how you support the private property rights of companies that are in bed with the CIA, while supporting their monopolistic practices of using cancel culture to shut down their competition. There's talk of removing Trump by either the impeachment process or invoking the 25th Amendment, with the latter being especially egregious due to it utilizing the 25th Amendment in a way it was not intended. Politicians going Constitution schmonstitution is unfortunately nothing new, so this is not much of a surprise. Supposedly this is all being done above board in good faith because establishment Republicans are also part of it, because I guess war criminals, pedophiles, and traitors are perfectly fine, upstanding citizens so long as they are against Orange Man, because Orange Man bad after all. While Trump himself isn't the political Jesus his supporters believe he is, matter of fact, I didn't vote for him because as a small L libertarian, I don't do lesser evil voting anymore. It is becoming increasingly clear that there's a big club, as George Carlin said, and you're not in it, and apparently Trump doesn't seem to be in it either. And the system has to close that door down again so that someone worse in their view doesn't get in, say like maybe a Rand Paul or a Thomas Massey. Or heck, even maybe a Bernie, and I'm saying this as somebody who's definitely not a Bernie bro. And most importantly, that we peasants don't get any more funny ideas. It's because of this that I think Trump isn't the main target. He's just a convenient scapegoat to further the political division in this country, to turn us against ourselves in order to undermine the First and Second Amendments. I've heard some Trump supporters claim that those who acted violently were Antifa provocateurs. And while it's possible some of them might have been, the guy with the horns, I suspect probably is, I find it unlikely that all of them were. Another thing I find very suspicious about these riots, indeed the biggest red flag for me, was the fact that the Capitol Hill police actually let them in. This is something that even many people that have bought into the false narrative being pushed have noticed. It clearly indicates that while many of the rioters were real, that this fiasco was an obvious inside job. An obvious inside job that some will blame on Trump, though a far more likely candidate is some key establishment Democrats and Republicans like, maybe Nancy Pelosi. Trump has nothing to gain from such a stunt and everything to lose, while these establishment politicians have everything to gain. Regardless of who gave the orders to let him in, though, one thing is for sure, and that it's for the good of this republic that we get answers ASAP.